Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Triangles Meditation Group. Today is September 20th, 2021, and a warm welcome to everyone. So can we, at our start of our meeting, just take a brief moment of silence, followed by a sounding together of the Noontime Recollection. We know, O Lord of life and love, about the need. Touch our hearts anew with love, that we too may love and give. So we come together each Monday at this.
I'm trying to find out what my code would be for some books for shipping. I was told to look at this document and that our stuff has EIR code.
Can you hear me now? Yes? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So I was just introducing our work as we do each week and stating that together we hope to strengthen the planetary network by participating in a meditative visualization. And we also hope to introduce this work to people who are new to it and to aid them in the forming of triangles. So triangles is a simple visualization technique using the power of thought and prayer to uplift and transform planetary consciousness. What we're trying to do together and are doing is transforming the etheric planetary network, which we're told is primarily at this point consisting of a network of squares, which is representative of the personality life. And through our work together in triangles, cooperating with all the other individuals and groups on the inner planes who are likewise working, we're seeking to transfigure this planetary grid into one that is composed of triangles, the triangle being reflective of the soul. And so we do this work each day by linking up with our two other triangles partners. We don't have to synchronize our linking through time or space. Wherever we are, we link up with the souls of our partners, visualizing the 3 points of our triangle as blending and merging together with each other. And then we visualize the entire planetary network of triangles. And as we distribute the energies, we use a world prayer known as the Great Invocation to do that. And this prayer releases the contacted energies into the minds and hearts of all humanity. And through this work of changing the planetary grid, we make all of our planet to become more sacred, more special, more aligned with its soul. So it's a beautiful, simple, but very powerful and effective tool for planetary transformation, for bringing about the change that we want to see. So we hope that all of you who are new to this work will be interested to form a triangle. And after our meditation today, we're going to have a discussion with the director of the New York Center of Lucis Trust, Steve Nation. And he will be discussing the triangles of goodwill, Virgo nations and peoples. And then we also have another guest, Dot Maver from Global Silent Minute, who will be telling us about the special nature of what's going on tonight and tomorrow in alignment with the 40th anniversary for the International Day of Peace, and a special practice that she's going to be telling us about called the Peace Wave. And also, the Lucis Trust is having its full moon in Virgo meeting this evening. So we hope that you can join, and the link will be posted here in the chat box. That meeting will begin at 6:30 tonight. The actual time of the full moon is shortly after the meeting at 7:55 p.m. So it's a good opportunity to be working together in meditation very close to the exact time of the full moon. And then International Day of Peace, as I said, starts tonight at 7 and goes through tomorrow. But the actual day of the equinox is on Wednesday in New York time, 3:21 p.m. So that's another powerful opportunity to link up in consciousness and sound the great invocation. So as we begin each week, let's take a few moments to link with a visualization. By visualizing the planet as a sphere of lighted energy. And let's visualize the planetary triangle composed of the planetary head center, Shambhala, the planetary heart, the spiritual hierarchy, and the planetary throat center, humanity. Visualize the energies flowing in all directions around the triangle from point to point, merging and blending the three spheres and filling the triangle with light. And superimposed upon that triangle, visualize the 5-pointed indigo star of the world teacher, linking east and west, past and future, radiating the energy of love, wisdom. At each point of the star, the outpost of his consciousness, stand the 5 planetary centers. Visualize the energies of love radiating forth from the center of the star through the 5 points. London, Darjeeling, New York, Geneva, Tokyo. Visualize these outpouring energies enlivening small groups gathering everywhere, aiding them to focus and direct the energies into the consciousness of all humanity, solving its problems, creating right human relations, restoring peace on earth. Visualize a rainbow bridge of energy towards the spiritual hierarchy, sounding the invocation of light. Radiance, we are, and power. We stand forever with our hands stretched out, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding. Thus with the light we work and turn the darkness into day. So as mentioned earlier, this Virgo full moon period, especially this day of safeguarding, is enhanced this year by the conjunction with the fall solstice period, fall equinox period, when the day and the light are equal. It's a time of balance on the subjective levels, but we know that on the outer planes, we've yet to achieve that balance. But all of the efforts, the work that we do in triangles, the work of International Day of Peace, the full moon work, the use of the Great Invocation, and the many other tools that are used by individuals and groups throughout the world. We're all doing what we can as individuals and, more importantly, as groups, to bring about a greater balance in our world so that the warring forces can begin to at least listen to each other and to attempt to appreciate the perspective of the many differing viewpoints in our world. And so quietly behind the scenes stands this very subjective energy of Virgo, an energy which goes deep. Steve's chosen as part of his theme the womb, Virgo representative of that womb that stands outside of time and space, sometimes depicted as the veiled woman, hiding much wisdom in her silence. And so it reminds us all to also look beneath the surface of the outer events and to know that beneath that surface there is a current of love running strong, and that our task is, amidst these jungles of the West in which we live and work, to remember that there is a subjective power that we can tap into as we seek to elevate our consciousness above the wild waters of our world. And in relationship to the energies that we've just passed through, the double Leo full moon influence, and now this Virgo full moon influence, it brought to my mind an interesting triangle, which the Tibetan states is one of the most important, impactful triangles that's working behind the scenes at this time, influencing us all at a high level of consciousness. In fact, it's said to overshadow our logos. It's impacting his consciousness. And it is one of the key influencing triangles involved in the work that he's involved in, which very much dovetails, as I said, with the work of triangles, which is to make of planet Earth a sacred triangle. And this is more important than we can certainly understand in our waking consciousness. But these energies of these three constellations of Pisces, Virgo, and Leo are the three key energies that will be working out and aiding the logos in this task of sacredization, we might say. And because of the time in which we're living, we can see how active this triangle is, because we're just passing through the long period of the Piscean age, wherein for 2,500 years, this influence, this dual influence of Pisces and Virgo has been the most active influence in our world. And now, as we move into the coming Aquarian age, we know that Leo, being the polar opposite of the Aquarian age, is exceedingly strong. The Tibetan tells us that the opposites must become one. So Leo is essential in bringing about a realization of the promise of the Aquarian age. And for our purposes, it's interesting to also note that the etheric body of our planet, which we work with in our triangles work, is governed specifically by this energy of Leo. So Leo is strong. Each day when we work with triangles, we're working in effect within the radius of Leo energy. And so the way the triangle is configured, we know that this is the energy that's closest to us, because it is the sign of the self-willed individual, the integrated personality, that important stage in planetary consciousness, in the involving consciousness of the individuals of the world. The Leo stage is a very important one, and we can see so many people coming under its control in our world today. Strong minds, strong personalities, dominating their lower aspects and standing strong, not yet fully linking or recognizing necessarily their soul nature, but it is only as this integration of the personality occurs that that soul can then come into being. And then the energies of Virgo, with which we're working today, then they come alive. For Virgo's not only concerned with bringing light into the form, which it does so beautifully, but also it brings light into the Christ child, the birthing of the Christ child, which occurs within that form. So it's a dual sign, a dual light, comes to birth in Virgo. And then in Pisces, we have a sign of synthesis, a sign of intuition, a sign in which we can reach into the deeper levels of aligning ourselves with that soul nature, which finds its seed in Virgo. So these three energies working together in conjunction spell three distinct stages on the path. And as we're told, all three of these stages influencing humanity as a whole are integral to the Logos being able to achieve his goal of making our planet sacred. Leo, the stage of the strong personality. Virgo, the stage of the birthing of the Christ within, moving towards the phase of the first initiation. And Pisces, being representative of a fuller flowering of that inner light and soul fusion, which occurs on the path of initiation. And so we can keep this triangle in mind, knowing that we work with it on a very high level within our higher selves. We're told it only really works out to the extent that we are aligned with our higher spiritual will. So on some level, we are working and cooperating with this triangle. And so with those thoughts in mind, let's now go into our meditation. Working together in group fusion, standing in the center of the evened arm cross of discipleship as a point of love and light. We project a line of lighted energy towards the highest center, the center Shambhala, and sound together the affirmation of will. In the center of the will of God, I stand. Naught shall deflect my will from his. I implement that will by love. I turn towards the field of service. I, the triangle divine, work out that will within the square and serve my fellow men. Using the creative imagination, link with two other points of light to create a triangle of light. Visualize the triangle in which you are working as an essential part of the radiant worldwide triangles network. Hold the consciousness immersed within the light of the group soul, the heart of love, which underlies and infuses the network. Now lift your consciousness to the world teacher, who stands as the heart of love at the center of the spiritual hierarchy and also at the heart of each triangle. Precipitation. Visualize the energies of love, light, and goodwill circulating in and around the triangle's network. Visualize these energies unifying and eliminating all divisions within humanity, healing and transforming human consciousness, establishing right human relationships. Projecting a lighted bridge of energy towards the hierarchy, we sound the mantra of unification. The sons of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Visualize the whole planet alight with triangles. See new triangles being formed everywhere. Sound the great invocation silently or aloud. And as we repeat each stanza, let's visualize the network acting as a link between the world of spiritual realities and humanity, as a channel through which light, love, and divine purpose may flow into human consciousness. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, everyone. So now we'll ask Steve to turn on his video. Oh, hi, Steve.
Hi, Kathy. Thank you for that. That was beautiful.
Thank you. So you've chosen as your theme today, Triangles of Goodwill and Virgo energies as its conditioning nations and peoples. And I know you're originally from a country that is ruled by Virgo, so you have firsthand experience of this. So we hope to hear some from you now.
Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, and I had a little note from a Triangles partner. There are a number of Triangles partners from New Zealand who I know who are on this call, and I'm sure several New Zealanders are here. And that's one of the Virgo nations that we might look at. Look, the thing, first of all, I love that diagram, that Pisces, Virgo, Leo diagram. And the thing about it, for me, is the circle at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And that, first of all, the Leo tells us that this circle, which is the world of time and space, everything is about the circle, because this triangle is pointing down and directing its energy into this circle. Yeah. So it's our humanness, it's this humanity. And the thing about Leo is that the thing of being a human being is being an individual. Yeah. And so this reminds us that the importance, the significance of our stories, like our individual stories. And those of us, all of us involved in triangles from whatever background we come, will be looking at those stories from a perspective that includes the other worlds, the higher worlds, the worlds within, and the worlds without. And so this story of self becomes about this relationship that in each narrative, in each individual, is built between this relationship between the divine self and the human self that comes through the soul. And then Virgo tells us that the circle humanity is a womb. The womb you referred to, the veiled woman, hiding wisdom in her silence. And the silence is like the silence of the pregnant woman. And within the womb, completely can't be seen, something, new life is growing.
Yes.
And being nurtured. And so that's what I mean, the thing to me, it's such this time we're living in now, I've never lived in a time that's so, in a way, it's deeply upsetting. I mean, occasionally I have conversations and it's not, the difference is it's upsetting the difficulty to move past the outer events to together reflect, really move into silence where we can begin to see what's taking place behind all the outer differences and divergencies. And this potent inner silence where the Christ child, the Buddha nature, the soul, the divine presence in the human is taking shape, is you know, all of the organs are taking shape, the new humanity, that what we think of as the new age, the Aquarian human being. Behind all of this heightened intensity of difference and sort of polarization and upsetting intense life that we're called to live now, within that, there's a potency of presence taking shape. So part of what Virgo, how it speaks to me, is the real importance of every one of us in the triangles network, every point in every triangle, stretching themselves to listen to the sound of this presence that's about to be born, about to move away from the veiled woman to bring a new humanity to birth. And we're living at a time when that's incredibly close. And for those who are students of the Alice Bailey teachings, he writes about the 8th month. And so between the 8th month and the 9th month, we know somewhere this new being that's already formed, the heart's beating, the little fingers are there, the eyes are there, the eyes are closed. But so as we listen to this global conversation and as we think about it, it's really, to me, just so important that we try to listen into, with the intuition, drawing on Pisces, try to listen into the heartbeat of the new. And through that, hope that we will begin to hear that heartbeat when we look at the outer conversation. Completely switches everything around. So
that 8th month is so real, as you say. The child can live outside of the mother at that point, you know. The soul is here now, and as you said, the heart is beating. It's fully formed. It needs a little more time, but it's so close at hand that indeed it is alive and with us now. And that's what we have to remember, that despite the outer shell that's still encasing it, it's almost here already. And so the whole time of the birth is a dangerous one, prior to the birth. The form is very tired. The form is very weary from this heavy weight that it's carrying. And so it needs to be released. But prior to that happening, there's incredible contractions. And the Tibetan tells us that the pain that our world is going through at this time is the pain of the birthing process, prelude to the birth. And so we shouldn't expect necessarily that this Aquarian age is going to be all beauty and light and ease, because it's still the 8th month. It's a challenging time. So.
And also, I always really like the thought that we look to the future Aquarian age as an age of light and love, which of course relative to Pisces it is. However, it also brings all the glamours of Aquarius. And often, to me, a lot of the sort of the agitated conversation that's going on in the world now is about over-recognition of the glamours of Aquarius and over-recognition of the glamours of Pisces. In other words, seeing everything as of the past in relation to separateness, and seeing everything of the future in relation to sort of unrealistic idealism, sentimental brotherhood, slogans that look good, but when you try to get into them, they are completely superficial because they lack the authenticity of the will. So we have to step beyond that, because of course it's going to be a human world, so it'll carry these tensions, and there'll always be these tensions, but the deeper thing is what's coming to birth. The other thought which you mentioned early on is this thing. It's interesting that there are 5 countries that have, in the Alice Bailey tradition, I don't know about other things, but other words, but in the Alice Bailey tradition, there are 5 countries we know of that have Virgo in their makeup. And many of the people on this call, many of us come from an Alice Bailey background, not all, of course. It's a universal, triangles is a universal work. But it's an interesting way of understanding, say, the womb of time and space, to look at these countries, particularly those who have some organic relationship with those countries. They're either born there, they live there, they've spent a lot of their time there, or they have a lot of friends there. So there's an organic relationship with these countries, to reflect on either what it is about the soul. So, and most of them are small countries, which is interesting. One very large country and hugely sort of powerful country, Brazil. Brazil has a Virgo personality, second ray Virgo personality, and a Leo soul. So that triangle referred to is interesting. And 2 smaller, really small nations, Ireland has a Virgo soul and a Pisces personality. We don't know the rays. And New Zealand, a Virgo personality and a Gemini soul. And Australia and Greece, which is I'm always intrigued by this, because I think Melbourne is the largest urban center of Greek-speaking or Greek population in the world. I think it's larger, almost Greek population. I mean, this might be wrong, but it's a huge number of Greeks have migrated and are living in Australia. So Australia and Greece, is it right that both have a Virgo soul and a Capricorn personality? And again, we don't know the rays. So it's just interesting. And then, I mean, what we hear is on this call, we're working as triangles. So during this hour we have together, it's not so much the ideas that we're sharing. It is, of course, the meditation work we're doing, but it's in Virgo, we can really together as a group develop this imaginative sense of the triangles of goodwill, triangles of three individuals, three selves, consciously choosing to link as points of light, as souls, to form a triangle, and then imagining that triangle within the womb of time and space. That triangle is sort of part of the beating heart of the of this new humanity that's coming to birth. And it's like the three of us who are linked in a triangle. It's the substance of our lives that we gift. And every day when we restore when we renew our imaginative alignment as a triangle, it's good to remember that we are also offering it as dana in the Buddhist sense, as a gift to this veiled, to the womb within the veiled woman, held in silence, that we can imagine is a part of this new birthing that's taking place. It's
Thank you, Steve. I know there are many more things that could be said about this vast topic, but we did want to bring Dot Maver in. Dot, if you could unmute yourself and turn on your video. Hey, Dot.
It's
Should we-
wonderful.
Hi. So Steve, would you like to just introduce Dot? I know most
Yep.
people know Dot very well, but
I would love to. I would love to introduce Dot. And Dot, together when we see Dot, we also see the like a single face of the minute of silence. So if we're in a we can visualize that shining through Dot. So this individual story is also the story of the minute of silence as it's come to birth, to get Dot together with others, together with Wendy and others. But today in particular, we've asked Dot to be here, and we also asked another dear Triangles worker who's usually is on these Triangles calls, Avon Madison, to be here, because this is one of the things about this time is it's Virgo full moon. For in US that's tonight, in on the Pacific parts of the world it was earlier today, I guess. That September 21st is International Day of Peace. It's a UN day all over the world. It's 40th anniversary. And it's probably the widest celebrated by individuals and civil groups of any UN observance. And there's a special, Triangles have a special relationship to this day because Avon Madison, who's been a long time Triangles worker, is like the mother of International Day of Peace, certainly one of the founders of the International Day of Peace, and the one whose persistence through 40 years has helped to make sure that it's become this global event. So, and Dot works closely with Avon. So Dot, it would be lovely if you would tell us something about Day of Peace and the Wave of Silence. And I know because Avon's not able to be on this call because there are so many other calls going on. She was called away to another call she had to be on, but I know you're speaking together with her voice.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Kathy. You know, as both of you were speaking about Virgo and Pisces and Leo, and then spoke about the power of silence. And yes, 40 years since the International Day of Peace began, and now it's every year, September 21st. And in that started 1981. So in 1982, Avon had a vision that at 12 noon daily, there could be a peace wave, minute of silence, moment of peace. And that has been going on daily since then. And so this year, it's quite incredible, actually, because you're right, Steve. So many groups, we couldn't name them on this call in the hour even that we have. So many groups participating and supporting the International Day of Peace that calls for both a ceasefire and for peace on earth through creating the conditions for the culture of peace focused through a minute of silence, this peace wave at 12 noon in every time zone. So tonight, East Coast New York time, which is already tomorrow, right, in the Southern Hemisphere, at 7 p.m., we will have an opening ceremony, which will lead into the very first Peace Wave Global Silent Minute at 8 p.m. New York time, EDT. That's 10 a.m. in Sydney. So earlier than that, the first time zone, I guess just north or
It's Fiji.
New
It's
Zealand.
Fiji.
Fiji is in the first one.
Fiji, and then I think Fiji, and then New Zealand. I'm sure
And
the
New
Kiwis
Zealand,
will
yeah.
correct me if I'm
And
wrong.
so, yeah, we'll open there and then 24 hours every hour. And so we put in the chat the Zoom. We'll also place in the chat the Facebook links. You can come in and out if you wish, but the room will be live 24 hours honoring this Peace Wave Minute of Silence, moment of peace. And as you said earlier, Steve, it's a focused intention. There's so much going on. May we hold the vertical alignment. The first one happens at 8 p.m. 7:55 p.m. New York is the Virgo full moon. So may we hold that intention together, and then we are in the outflow of that for the 24-hour peace wave this year that hundreds and thousands of groups are supporting around the world. So it's pretty exciting, and using the definition of peace, living in right relationship with self, others, and all life, as we anchor and express the spirit of peace in our hearts, uniting our hearts across distance. So thank you.
Yeah, it's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
It's this thing, because it's very in tune with triangles, because it's this idea of shared thought. So sort of millions of people, and sure, there is a lot of outer activity and organization necessary, but behind it, there's this focus of concentrated silence, not negative silence, but silence of the Christ child in the womb of time and space, because peace, everything about the culture of peace is the culture of Aquarius. It's the new human culture of cooperation and sharing. And these great sort of symbolic rituals that are starting to come into our life, collective life, are essentially consciousness reaching up and into holding a point of tension of positive openness to the worlds, to the higher worlds, and as they are being birthed in time and space. And as triangles workers, we have such a responsibility to be aware of and participate in.
Thank you both, Steve and Dot. Now let's open it up. There's a lot of comments, and there's a raised hand from a Brazilian participant. So why don't we hear from Maria Cristina Amaral from Brazil? Hello, Maria Cristina.
Kathy,
Hey, hello.
I could not switch on my video.
Okay.
And hi, Dot. Hi, Steve. And
Hey, Marie.
yes, Brazil is a Virgo nation with a Leo rising. And I loved this triangle Kathy has showed, because we live in a second aspect system, which means love. So love is always the link in between father and mother, which talks about Virgo.
Yeah.
It's the father, the mother, and the child, and then the child links the two, or so links spirit and matter. And it's interesting, this is the triangle, as Steve has mentioned, but it's also Libra, because the Libra has also the two aspects, which is two ways, and then the linking way, which is the middle way, and the Libra is this sign of peace. And it's just this celebration between the through triangles and the sign of peace. Peace is actually balancing. Peace is balancing in between forces, and it's Libra itself. And also, Steve mentioned the triangle focused in Leo, and then the circle below. Then we see a triangle inside the circle, which means distribution, actually. And then Brazil has this triangle, Virgo and Pisces, and Leo, which is the sun itself. Leo is the solar angel. So in this sense, Brazil can contribute with the family of nations. And then Leo, soul of Brazil, and then Aquarius, soul of United States, they blend. And also with the soul of United Kingdom, because Brazil, United States, and United Kingdom are the three nations custodian of the second ray for the whole fifth race. And Leo is a sign of the fifth ray, which is also the ray of Venus, the higher self of the planet. So it seems everything is going on fine. And the motto of Brazil is "I hide the seed." It's really the image of the mother nurturing a new race, an intuitive race. And it's great. We are all knowing about these things and working together. So thank you. Thank you for this triangle work. It's wonderful to be part of it. Thank you, Steve, Kath, and meet you tonight, Dot. Bye.
Thank you, Maria Cristina.
Bless you, Maria Cristina.
Thank you for all the work you do in Brazil, day in and day out. Does anyone else, if anyone else would like to raise their hand, they can click on the reactions button and we'll unmute your microphone. Steve, would you like to read any of the comments, or Dot, if they're directed towards you?
VN reminds us that the signs and rays of the nations are shown in tabulation form and in the text of the Alice Bailey book, Destiny of the Nations. Thanks for that, VN, and you can find that on the Lucis Trust website on the Books Online. The Anna from Psychoactiva asks about the zodiac signs by the country, and again, if you look through the book Destiny of the Nations, just from the Alice Bailey perspective, you'll find that's where you'll find that information. Okay, if Tim wants to send me a message, I'll be very happy to hear from. Is it, yeah, Tim Wilson? I'd be very happy to hear your message if you want to send it to me by the chat.
And Clint asks exactly when is the Global Minute of Silence? Tomorrow at noon, also one at 8 p.m. today. Every hour on the hour, beginning at 8 p.m. New York tonight, all the way through until 6 p.m. tomorrow, the 21st. And at 5 p.m. tomorrow, we will offer the formal Global Silent Minute that we participate in every day at 9 p.m. GMT. So yes, hour by hour for 24 hours.
The just a thought that it's, to me, it's really, for those of us who are trained in use of the invocation, because this heartbeat rhythm of people observing silence all around the world is really growing, and obviously in the future it's going to become more and more powerful. And for those who value actual invocation, it's really, to my mind, it's really important to take that silence coming from humanity and really hold it before the potency of spirit and the great ones on the inner side of life, to really hold that silence consciously, and imagine that silence as it is observed by hierarchy. And that's a sort of powerful thing that triangles workers and workers from any tradition can do, can bring invocation into this work with silence.
As you say that, Steve, I would like to say many of us who participate are working within the Triangles Network. And at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, New York time, Steve will be hosting the Peace Wave Minute of Silence, Moment of Peace. And you can come into the Zoom room or watch that on Facebook if you wish. Afterwards, he will take some time and share with us about invocation.
It's rather, I was very glad that that's the time you suggested, Dot, because that's like, it's 12 noon in UK, in Ireland, and right through West Africa, West African time. West African time is GMT +1. So it's these time zones. I love looking at a time zone map, because this is the womb of time and space. What it means to live as a human being is that we're lost in this world of different time zones. And so, this little simple ritual connects us to these peoples in all different parts who are sharing the common time, getting up in the morning at around about the same time. The workday starts at around about the same time for all of these collectives.
Well, maybe since Dot's so busy today, maybe it's a good time for us all to also prepare for our full moon meeting tonight, and just end now with a moment of silence. Thank you so much, Dot. Thank you so much, Steve, for being
Thanks, Kathy.
here. And we'll
Thanks,
be
Dot.
linking with you in this work tomorrow, Dot. So let's just turn off our videos for this final moment, and let's visualize the planet surrounded by a network of triangles, working with the energies of the Virgo full moon and the coming equinox. Sounding the Om.